Real Estate Exam Chapters 1 to 6 2026 Practice Questions. Flashcard 1. What is the first point at which a provisional broker may begin practice in real estate in North Carolina? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is when the NCREC receives notification of the provisional broker's activation with a BIC. Flashcard 2. An unlicensed assistant may do all of the following activities, except to think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is exhibit homes that are for sale and show the buyer around the home. Flashcard 3. With regard to timeshares, all of the following are true, except to think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is: timeshares are not considered real estate and no license is required to sell timeshares in North Carolina. Flashcard 4. Which of the following statements is true about timeshares? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is: they must be registered with the NC Real Estate Commission prior to sale. Flashcard 5. All of the following statements are correct regarding the NCREC, except think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is: they shall have the power to make reasonable bylaws, rules, and regulations that are inconsistent with the provisions of the general statutes. Flashcard 6. It is correct to say that the NC Real Estate Commission may not fine a real estate licensee. However, the NC Real Estate Commission may do which of the following? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is fine a timeshare developer up to $500 per violation of the Timeshare Act. Flashcard 7. General Statute 93A2 states, in part, that a real estate broker is any person who, for compensation or valuable consideration, or the promise thereof, lists or offers to list property. All of the following would constitute valuable consideration, except to think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is the neighbor brings fresh tomatoes from their garden and bakes their agent a fresh apple pie as a way of saying thank you. Flashcard 8. All of the following could result in disciplinary action by the NC Real Estate Commission for unworthiness or incompetence, except to think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is: attempting to take all of the post-licensing courses in a single year. Flashcard 9. A provisional broker is subject to two separate education requirements. They must complete post-licensing education of 90 hours within 18 months from the date of licensure. When must a provisional broker complete their first 8-hour CE requirement? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is: prior to the second renewal of their real estate license. Flashcard 10. A non-provisional real estate licensee is on inactive status. They are not holding themselves out to be available to help others buy, sell, rent, or auction property. A friend asks for their help in a real estate transaction. Which of the following is true? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is: an agent whose license is inactive may not earn any fees or represent others in a real estate transaction. Flashcard 11. In the event that a licensee's annual renewal fee is returned unpaid, the North Carolina Real Estate Commission may take all of the following actions, except to think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is fine the agent. Flashcard 12. All of the following would constitute an illegal action by an inactive licensee who is not affiliated with a firm, except to think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is telling a new acquaintance that they are a broker, but they are on inactive status. Flashcard 13. Which of the following do not need a real estate license to sell property? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is a corporation that owns property and is using an employee to sell the property. Flashcard 14. Which of the following is incorrect about the post-licensing requirement of a provisional broker? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is post-licensing courses end on June 10th and must be completed for the provisional broker to renew their license on June 30th. Flashcard 15. If a provisional broker fails to complete all 3 post-licensing courses within 18 months of obtaining a license, what is their license status once the anniversary date passes? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is inactive. Flashcard 16. If a licensee does not pay their renewal fee on or before June 30 of the year, what is the time period for the licensee to reinstate their license without the imposition of additional educational requirements? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is 6 months. Flashcard 17. If an active provisional broker pays their renewal fee before their second renewal, but does not take their 8 hours of continuing education before their second renewal, what is their license status on July 1st? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is inactive. Flashcard 18. A corporation selling its own properties through the actions of its own salaried W-2 employees. Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is needs neither a firm license nor do its employees need to be licensed. Flashcard 19. In regard to real estate fees and commissions between brokerages and clients, what is the role of the North Carolina Real Estate Commission? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is has no role in fees or commissions. Flashcard 20. All of the following are correct statements about the composition of the NCREC, except to think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is commission members serve 5-year terms. Flashcard 21. All of the following are required in order to obtain a NC real estate license, except think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is a high school diploma. Flashcard 22. All of the following are true when a real estate license is inactive due to a C deficiency, except think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is if the inactivity is for longer than 5 years, the license will be considered expired. Flashcard 23. Which of the following must have a NC real estate license? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is an auctioneer. Flashcard 24. All of the following are requirements of licensor for NC real estate license, except think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is be a resident of North Carolina. Flashcard 25. An unlicensed individual who transacts real estate for another or participates in the sale, lease or exchange of another for compensation is subject to which of the following penalties? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is they will likely be issued a cease and desist order. Flashcard 26. An individual licensed in another state may receive a waiver of the NC education requirement to complete the 75-hour broker per license course if they meet which of the following criteria? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is successful completion of another state's per license course of at least 75 hours within the last 3 years. Flashart 27. Henry is the manager and owner of his own LLC. He has a full-time salaried staff person, Sheila, that he employs to work for his LLC. Henry's company is buying homes, renovating them and putting them back on the market. He has Sheila show the properties to prospective buyers. Who is in violation of NC licensing law? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is neither Henry nor Sheila. Flashart 28. All of the following are true about the character issue of an applicant for a NC real estate license, except think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is the Commission makes a character determination before an applicant is permitted to take the NC licensing examination. Flashart 29. How long is an applicant's examination eligibility period to take the NC real estate examination once the Commission has approved their application? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is 180 days. Flashart 30. Judy is an unlicensed individual. Her parents are selling their own home as for sale by owner without the representation of a real estate licensee. While her parents are on vacation, Judy shows the home to some interested potential buyers and has long conversations with them about the conditions under which they may purchase her parents' home. Judy's parents do not pay her in cash but instead offer to send on an upcoming vacation. Is Judy in violation of NC licensing law? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is yes. Judy is engaged in the business of real estate without a license. Flashart 31. All of the following require the refiling of an applicant's application for NC real estate license, except think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is if the license was inactive for more than 2 years. Flashart 32. An applicant will forfeit both their examination and license application fees, and their license will be cancelled for all of the following, except to think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is attempting to reschedule an examination appointment. Flashart 33. A NC provisional broker's real estate license is initially issued on what type of status? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is inactive. Flashart 34. As long as it is part of his or her duties, is it legal for an unlicensed assistant to solicit listings for the broker? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is no. Active participation in soliciting real estate business requires a real estate license. Flashart 35. When a corporation is involved in the sale or leasing of property that is owned by the corporation, who is exempt from the requirement to possess a real estate license? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is the corporation's officers, directors, and all W-2 salaried employees are exempt from licensure. Flashart 36. All of the following are considered exempt from licensure and considered to be dealing with their own property, except. Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is a sole proprietor and their W-2 salaried employees. Flashart 37. A provisional real estate broker must remove the provisional status of their license by taking 90 hours of post-licensing courses. The 90-hour courses are divided into 3 30-hour courses. When must these courses be complete? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is within 18 months of initial licensing. Flashart 38. A provisional broker obtains their NC real estate license on April 15th and joins a real estate firm. In order to remain active, the broker must pay the renewal fee to the NC Real Estate Commission on or before. Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is June 30 of the current year. Flash R39. All of the following are powers of the NC Real Estate Commission, except think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is to order licensees to make restitution to clients and levy fines. Flash R40. In North Carolina, under the Residential Property Disclosure Act, sellers of 1-4 unit residential properties must complete a MOG mineral, oil and gas disclosure. The purposes of this law include all of the following, except think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is to prevent sellers from severing mineral, oil and gas rights from a property. Flash R41. All of the following are true under the NC Condominium Act, except to think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is a unit owner is prohibited from ownership of land and must take only title to their individual unit. Flash R42. In a NC condominium project, only certain owners have reserved parking spaces and garages. Under the NC Condominium Act, these areas would be known as think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is limited condominium areas. Flash R43. All of the following are true of a project broker within a NC timeshare, except to think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is a provisional broker may serve as a project broker. Flash R44. All of the following are true if a timeshare is not properly registered in NC and a public offering statement is not provided to a buyer prior to contract under the NC Timeshare Act, except think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is the buyer, and the developer may agree to waive both the 5-day cancellation period and the providing of a public offering statement. Flash R45. How long does a provisional broker have to activate their license from the date of licensure? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is there is no required time period for license activation. Flash R46. Can a real estate licensee renew an inactive license? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is yes, because that will prevent the license from being expired. Flash R47. Under the NC Mechanics Lien Statute, an owner of property must designate a Mechanics Lien agent MLA under which of the following situations? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is a new roof is being placed on a vacation rental unit that costs $42,000. Flash R48. The NC homestead exemption would be of importance and have the greatest impact on think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is a borrower who is in default on their property and facing foreclosure. Flash R49. Jack is a licensed real estate professional in Illinois. He has been a broker for many years, but is not licensed in NC. Jack has a friend who wants to purchase a home in Charlotte, NC. In regard to the representation of this buyer, all of the following are true, except to think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is, so long as Jack affiliates with NC broker, he may accompany the buyer to North Carolina and assist in showing the buyer property. Flash R50. Sherry is a provisional broker who works for a residential sales BICN firm in North Carolina. Sherry has a couple of clients who want her to manage their rental properties. What are Sherry's options? Think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is Sherry can refer the clients to a property management firm and earn a referral fee that is paid to her through her BIC.